another 2 months, another Devlog. Welcome, this is my new Devlog. Here I'm going to basically summarize what I've done in the past 2 months. So let's begin. First, you can support me by subscribing, wishlisting my game, World Layers, that I'm showing you right now. You can also like and comment on the video what my next tutorial should be. So here you can see this is the first part of the Occult that I've shown in the past Devlog. Here is the path to the second area, which is the crossroad. Here I've added some signs. This Devlog will be quite short, since I've mainly worked on the map. I haven't introduced any new major systems, so I've added 3 new areas. To be honest, I'm quite proud. Here you can see north is the Castle of Souls, west is the Holy River, and again. But first I'm going to show you the west side. Here we transition. Here we are in the Blue Soul Forest. The Blue Souls, as I said in my previous Devlog, are human souls, so keep that in mind. First I'm going to show you the Hell's Gate. Here we walk around and here's our sign, Gate to Hell, or Hell's Gate. It's basically the way to leave the Occult after you've acquired 3 keys, and now that I have them, I just open it, it's open, and there will be a portal that leads you to the Hell. Here we are up once again, here's the Hell's Gate, and now we're going to the Holy River. And here we are, this is the Holy River. For now you can see the barriers that won't allow me to go there, but later in the game I'm going to disable them. And this is the White Soul Forest. It's surrounded by the river, so if you go up here, here's the other part of the river. And here there will be a cutscene that will grant you the first key. So this is a small area where you acquire the key and maybe some monster will start chasing you. For now it's just an idea. So that's it for this area. Now we are back to the crossroads and I'm going to go down the green soul forest. I'm really proud with this area, since I really like how I made it. Here is the red soul forest. As you can see, everything's red, even the water. The water is soul infused, so the same way the trees gather the souls around them to make their cover, the same way the water works. And in the witch's hut you are going to acquire the second key, which is the Emerald Soul Key. Here we are, this will be the witch's hut, and for now it doesn't have any portals or any way to interact with it, but in the future I'm going to add the interior of the house and maybe the witch itself. North is the Castle of Souls, as I read earlier, and we go this way. This is the most recent edition, so it doesn't have any collisions for now, but soon I'm going to add them. Here you can see creates of blood and flesh, since the king of this castle has to consume humans and human flesh to survive. Of course, the king is a ghost, so evil ghost. So here there are three ways. Also, not every area is accessible, so for now I'm going to go left, which leads me to one of the corridors, and this is the way to the library. And the second way is to the tower, where there will be one of the monsters. The second area is the same, but the ways it leads are actually the dungeon and the second tower. So that was it for the map. Maybe you're wondering what did it take it so much time to make only this, and I'm going to show you. For example, so far it's 14. This is the castle area. I have 6 layers. The first layer is the floor. Everything on the first and second layer is below the player, while everything above that is above the player. Layer 3 are the barriers. The fourth layer are the difficult part, because to make a tree, most people think that I need to get the tree and place it. However, this is not how it works here, at least not for me. The second layer contains the tree trunk, since I want the player to be able to move over it. However, that if I place the other parts of the tree on the second layer, the player will walk all over the tree, which looks really bad. For example, let me show you. Here we have our player character. The whole tree is in the second layer. As you can see, I walk over the tree, and that isn't what we want. So I need to place the trunk on the second layer, and the tree I can place it on one layer the whole. However, here's the second problem, because, well, it works only for a singular tree. If I want to add another tree, for example, if I place this, let's say it's the 6th layer, then I place a second trunk behind it, and I place on the 5th layer the second crown. Now this works, and the player again will walk behind it. However, when I add more trees, let's say I add this to the 4th layer, okay, it works again. And the problem occurs when I place a 4th tree. Since the 3rd layer is a barrier, I can't use it for that. So I have to start from the beginning. And if I use the 4th layer again, it just cuts through the tree. So I use the 6th. However, as you can see, the tree is over the other tree. So I need to delete this, delete the 6th, and I will add the tree crown on the 5th layer and make only the top part of the first tree to be above, so it only covers that part. So you can see why I have to make this for all these trees, and then again for all these trees as well. And that's mainly my problem. Maybe I'm not smart enough to invent a core system that allows me to create rules for the game that make my work easier, but Unreal Engine doesn't provide them by default, unlike Unity or Godot, so I have to deal with it. That's partly why Unreal Engine isn't as good for sole game dev, and you have to keep it in mind if you start making 2D games, because it's a real hassle to just start and make a full game. On the other hand, lighting is something that I use and I'm really proud of. because, for example, here you can see it, but if I move my character to a green lamp where the light is stronger, you can see that my player has a shadow that is dynamic and follows the player. I made it using lighting channels and lumens, so I'm really happy with it. Also, the emissive colors are something that I really like. The next layer is the hell, and I hope that I can start working on it by 20th August. So if you want to start a 2D game in Unreal Engine, you can try. I won't advise you not to try, since game dev is mainly about trying, but my advice would be to be informed about the things that you have in the engine, because there are many things that needs to be fixed manually and aren't provided support by the engine itself. So this is just my advice. If you want to start making 2D games in Unreal Engine, please try to look more into it than just saying, oh yeah, I can make it. Because I started it and I'm not unhappy with the results. I have 2 layers already and there are 3 more layers I need to complete. But I'm really happy with the results, so I will continue making this game until I finish it. And yeah, just research what you are starting. This is for every game that you want to start. For example, I have a side project that when I'm tired of making world layers, I just start making it. It's a VR MMORPG, so yeah, it's unrealistic that I finish it anytime soon, but it's fun working on it. And my second advice is that you must have a realistic vision of the game, because if you start just with hype and motivation, you're probably not going to get anywhere with only motivation. For me, this game is just a hobby that one day I hope reaches the world and motivates other people to create games. That was it for the video. You can support me by subscribing, wishlisting my game, because I spent way too much time on it. You can also like the video, comment what my next tutorial should be, and see you in the next one.